Watch your step. Could you put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You say your full name for the record and spell your last name once you sit down and you're comfortable. Go ahead.
Ronald F. Artigas.
Spell your last name for me.
A-R-T-I-G-E-S.
Prosecutor.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Can you tell us what you do for a living?
I'm an insurance broker.
And where do you work?
Raymond G. McCarthy and Company.
Okay, just if you could slow down a little bit, because it's hard to understand you.
Oh, okay.
Where do you work?
Raymond G. McCarthy and Company.
Okay, and how long have you been in the business of being an insurance broker?
45 years.
Are you familiar with the Caneiro family?
I am.
How were you familiar with them?
I was introduced through a broker, Robert Reichenstein. I was working with him and handling health insurance for a company that Paul and Keith worked at.
What time frame was that?
2000.
Okay, and over the years, did you do any work for them?
I handled the health insurance. I also handled life insurance. Also handled homeowners insurance for Paul. I had, other accounts, disability insurance and so forth that we handled for J. Martin, Square One.
Okay, so there's been testimony about it, but just to your knowledge, how many businesses did Paul own?
2.
Okay, and who did he own them with?
Keith.
Okay, were you familiar specifically with Keith Caneiro?
I don't understand what you mean.
Were you familiar? Did you know Keith Caneiro?
I did.
Okay, and about how long have you known him for?
Since 2000.
Is it the same for Mr. Caneiro too?
Yes.
Okay. You indicated that you would do some work with regard to certain types of insurance.
Yes.
Did you ever do any work specifically with regard to the businesses?
Yes.
And can you tell us about that?
Well, for J. Martin, I handled the ancillary benefits as well as the health insurance. So we did the group health insurance, we did the group disability insurance, group life insurance, group dental insurance. And EchoStar, which is the other company, we handled the health insurance and also the workers' comp insurance.
Who is the group health insurance provider for the businesses?
Verizon.
Do you know if Paul Caneiro and his family were covered by that health insurance?
Yes.
Okay, and who was the group disability insurance provider for the businesses?
Sun Life.
And do you know whether the defendant was receiving any disability from Sun Life?
Yes.
To your knowledge, what role did both Paul and Keith play with regard to the day-to-day affairs of each business? And I want to stick to the time frame of 2017 and 2018.
So they both owned the organizations, and I think Keith, for the most part, was working from his home at that time. Was going to school and managing affairs for J. Martin. Paul was managing EchoStar.
When you say Keith was going to school, do you know what he was going to school for?
He went back to school to get his degree, a master's degree.
Okay. And do you know when that was approximately?
I just know that I believe he completed all that in 2017.
Okay. Do you know why he went back to school to get his master's degree?
Yeah, he was looking to sell J. Martin and EchoStar and move into like a CIO position with the corporation.
Did he have any specific corporation in mind, or was this just...
Not to my knowledge.
Now, how long, you may have said it, but how long had you known Paul Caneiro for?
Same as Keith, since 2000.
Do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you please point him out?
Paul.
Identifies the defendant.
Now, as Keith's insurance broker, do you recall whether he was the policyholder of any life insurance policies?
Yes, he was.
Do you recall what they were?
He had a number of term insurance policies. Some were his own policies. Some were the company policies. He had whole life insurance, disability insurance, but life insurance, he had term and whole life insurance.
Were you familiar with the Canada whole life insurance policy?
I was familiar with the policy, yes.
Okay, and you mentioned a couple of different things. You said a term policy and a life policy. Is there a difference between the two?
Yes. So term insurance is basically you're paying a premium for a certain period of time, and then there's a death benefit attached to that. There's no return. The premiums are generally level for a certain period of time. Whole life insurance, you're paying a premium that's guaranteed for the rest of your life, and at some point that death benefit will be paid because of the fact the policy is guaranteeing an insurance payment when you die or when you reach the age of 100, whatever that insurance amount would be given to the recipient because the policy ends at 100. The difference between term also is there's no return on the money that goes into the policy. Whole life insurance policy has a guaranteed cash value, so at some point, if you wanted to turn that policy back to the company, they will reimburse you, for the premiums paid plus interest, and also there's a dividend structure. So it can be used not only for a death benefit, but it can also be used as far as a savings vehicle.
Now, Keith's Canada life insurance policy, was that a whole or a term?
Whole life.
You indicated you were familiar with that. Were you involved with Keith Caneiro when he purchased that whole life insurance policy from Canada Life?
No.
How then are you familiar with it?
Keith had contacted me. I was familiar with the policy when Bob Reichenstein left the business. I was aware of the existing policies that he had life insurance. Canada Life was one of them. Then in April, I think in 2018, Keith had contacted me. He had a statement. He was trying to figure out why there was a loan against this policy. And that's how I contacted Canada Life, became a little bit more familiar with the policy.
What was the death benefit or the payout value of the Canada Life insurance policy?
$3 million.
Do you know who the beneficiary of that life insurance policy was?
It was a trust.
The trust, okay. Were you familiar with the terms of the trust and how it was structured?
No.
Okay. Were you familiar with the trustee?
Yes.
Who was that?
Paul.
Now, with respect to Keith's Canada Life whole life insurance policy, was there something called a cash value component to that?
Yes.
Can you explain that?
So whole life insurance, you're paying a premium, obviously, for the rest of your life because they're guaranteeing the death benefit. At some point, and because it's such a long-term relationship with the insurance company, if you wanted to, you can give the policy back to the insurance company, and they will reimburse you money that builds up in the policy, guarantee a cash value in the policy. You also have access to that. You can take a loan against the policy. So you'd still have the insurance minus whatever the loan value is of the policy.
Were you familiar with how the premium payments on that Canada Life insurance policy were structured?
They were paid on a quarterly basis,
Do you recall the amount?
$7,900.
And how would those premiums get paid?
They were paid by the company to a bank account, and then that money was transferred to Canada Life.
Do you know who was responsible for transferring the money from that bank account to Canada Life?
I think Paul.
And do you recall where that bank account was held?
TD Bank.
Now, to your knowledge, who had access to that TD Bank trust account?
Paul.
Do you know if Keith had access to that?
I don't believe he did.
And without telling me anything anybody said, what makes you think that?
Because of...
Hold on.
All he said is he doesn't believe he did. He doesn't know or not know. So I don't know what the basis of that. It would be speculative anyway.
Do you know the answer to that, or did you use the word "I think" because you don't know for sure, or do you know?
Just repeat the question.
I had asked who has access to that bank account, and I believe he.
Okay. Who had access to the bank account?
Paul.
All right. Are you aware if anybody else had access to the account?
No.
No, you're not aware, or nobody else did?
No, I'm not aware.
Okay, go ahead.
Were there times when you would review bank statements from that TD Trust account?
There was only one time that I saw bank statements.
Do you recall when that was?
In November 2018.
Okay. Do you recall the specific date? If not, it's okay.
No.
Okay. Now, do you know who would get those trust bank statements?
No.
Okay. All right. So you recall reviewing those bank statements, though, in November of 2018?
Yes.
Who did you review them with?
I was on the phone. They were sent to me via email, and I reviewed them with Keith and Steve Weinstein.
Okay. I want to back up now to April of 2018. Specifically, I want to draw your attention to that month. What, if any, issues did you become aware of regarding Keith's life insurance trust?
Keith had contacted me, inquiring. He had gotten a statement showing that there was a loan against the Canada Life policy. He didn't understand the policy, so he contacted me. They asked me what that meant. What is why would there be a loan against this policy?
And did you
And
explain?
I said, based on what I see here, there's either the money was taken out for whatever reason you would take it out, or there's also in a whole life insurance policy what's called automatic premium loan. So to prevent the policy from lapsing, if there's this substantial cash value in a policy, they'll take a loan against the policy automatically to make sure the policy doesn't lapse and pay the premium.
Do you recall receiving any emails in April of 2018 regarding that conversation?
Yes,
And who did you receive an email from?
Keith.
Okay. Do you recall receiving any emails from Paul?
I was CC'd. I was part of an email chain with Keith, Paul, myself, and I think Steve.
I'm showing counsel what's been marked as S11. May I approach?
Okay.
I'm showing you, sir, what's been marked as S11. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
Okay, and what is that?
This was we were trying to figure out, I think there's a breakdown. Let me just read this. This was Paul had identified why the premiums hadn't been paid, and this is where they went. So he was giving an explanation of the premiums were paid to the wrong place.
Okay, so let me just ask you, this email, who is that from?
Paul Caneiro.
Okay, and when is it sent?
April 11th,
What, of what?
2018,
Is there a time?
11:01. No, yeah, 11. I can't remember.
Is that
11:01 a.m.
And who is it to?
Keith Caneiro and CC'd me and Steve.
Okay, and is there a subject line?
Trust reconciliation.
Okay. Permission to publish?
You can.
Mr. Ortiz, do you see that on the screen in
I
front
do.
of you? You see that? Okay. Is that essentially the email that I just showed you?
Yes.
Okay. And you're copied on this, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and this is from who?
Paul.
Okay. And is this the email that you were just referring to?
Yes.
Okay, and does Mr. Caneiro on there indicate he selected the wrong bill pay from some of the payments?
Yes.
Okay, if we could just scroll down to the end, please. Okay, what does that last line say before his signature?
Sorry for all the confusion. I've had my head up my ass.
Okay, thank you. Did you look into this issue any further after you received that email?
No.
Okay, do you know what happened with regard to any missing payments?
No.
I want to draw your attention about 7 months ahead now to November 19th of 2018. Do you recall that date?
Yes.
Okay. What, if any, communications did you have with Canada Life Insurance Company on behalf of Keith that day?
So Keith had contacted me regarding again, alone on this policy, and it had grown from where it was. He didn't understand. He had said that the premiums were being paid. So I said, perhaps there was a problem with the premium payments, and they took a loan out of the policy to pay your premiums under the automatic premium loan provision. So I contacted Canada Life to find out whether or not the premiums in question had been paid, and they said they didn't receive those premiums.
Did you relay that information to Keith Caneiro
Yes.
that night?
Yes.
That afternoon, if you recall? And how did you do that?
Via phone.
What specifically did you tell Keith?
I said that as far as Canada Life, they have no receipt of any payments.
Without telling me anything that Keith may have said, what was his demeanor like?
He was frustrated.
What did you and Keith do that afternoon and that evening?
Well, we were trying to, Paul wasn't feeling well. We were trying to just find out why the premiums weren't credited through Canada Life. So the question was, if they were paid through the bank, then Canada Life obviously should have received those payments. So somewhere there was a mistake.
Now, when you say you were trying to find out, were you looking at any documentation over the phone with Keith?
Steve had shared the TD Bank statements with Keith and myself.
Okay, and when you say the TD Bank statements, what year?
The ones for 2018 that specifically stated the fact that the premiums were paid to Canada Life through the TD Bank policy. It said, it said Canada Life right on there. So that led us to believe that there's a possibility that maybe Canada Life made a mistake.
Okay, so just so I understand, those 2018 bank statements were showing payments being made to Canada Life?
Yes,
From where?
from that statement.
The TD Trust account?
Yes. Well, from the TD Bank account.
How did you end the conversation with Keith ultimately that night? Was there a plan for the next day? If you remember.
Keith had sent an email to us all. He was frustrated with what was going on, and he had said that he was going to make a recommendation.
Don't say what he was going to say.
Without telling me anything that Keith may have said, did you have a plan for the next day?
In regards to this,
Yes.
I didn't have a plan because of the fact that I had done everything I could.
Okay, understood. Now, aside from the email that you said you received from Keith that night, what, if anything else, did you receive from Keith?
That night,
Yes.
I don't think I received any. There was perhaps some other emails, but it was mostly conversation on the phone.
I'll ask it this way. Do you recall ever receiving a resume from Keith?
Oh, yes.
Caneiro? Okay. And when was that?
That same night, I believe, he sent the resume. We had conversation in regards to what he was trying to accomplish, and his hope was that he was going to move on private industry and go into the commercial business, looking for a job as a chief information officer for a company. So my wife was vice president at the time of Prudential in the technology field. So I offered to share his resume with her, and that's why he sent it.
I want to draw your attention now to the next morning, Tuesday, November 20th of 2018. Do you recall that date?
Yes.
Okay. Him.
Tiffany from his office called me and said that there was an incident at Paul's house, a claim, and he needed to speak to me. So I called him and he answered.
And what did he say to you over the phone?
He said there was a fire at my house. I contacted the insurance company, put the claim in, and so the claim's already been reported. And then he was going to give me the claim number, and then I'd work as I do, helping to get the claim paid.
What time was that phone call at about?
9:30 a.m.
Do you recall the name of the insurance, his homeowner's insurance company?
Sure.
Okay, and just to be clear, he called you and told you he had put a claim in for his house?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
Ross?
So, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Keith had a number of different insurance policies,
Yes.
and some were life insurance, some were other types of policies. Do you know why the Canada Life policy in particular was in a trust?
No.
You don't. You were aware that premiums were supposed to be paid on that policy quarterly, right?
Yes.
And those quarterly payments were supposed to be $7,800?
Yes.
Now, Keith got you involved with this policy, I'd imagine, because, you know, you're in insurance and you're familiar with these type of things, right?
Yes.
You weren't the one that advised Keith to put the policy in the trust.
I was not.
In April of 2018, you mentioned there was an issue with payments getting from the trust account to the insurance company.
In April, Keith had asked me why there was a loan against his policy, and I explained to him how that loan could possibly have been generated.
Now, at this point in time, there was that email that you had referenced where Paul's talking about paying the wrong people from the account, right? You saw that just a second ago?
I did.
After that happened, Paul told Keith that he was going to put that money back, right? Pay that money back, right?
Yes.
And he did actually pay that money back to Keith, right?
I don't know.
You're not sure?
No, because after that at that point, I was out of it.
Okay. So there was no follow-up with you and Keith about whether that money was paid back to him?
Correct.
Okay. And then between that event in April and the event in November that you talked about, did you have any further involvement with issues related to the trust account?
The next time I became aware of anything was when Keith contacted me in November.
Right. Okay, so between April
Nothing.
and that date in November, there was nothing.
I thought everything was handled. Yeah,
So
closed.
but your involvement was nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. Now, Keith, going back to the April portion where you were involved, Keith was in communication with the insurance company, right?
No, I don't think Keith was in April. Keith had asked me what on a whole life insurance policy. Why would there be a loan against the policy? So I had contacted Canada Life, and they told me that premiums hadn't been received.
Didn't Canada Life send Keith a copy of the entire payment history for the policy in April of 2018?
Well, that's maybe where the reconciliation came. I didn't have a copy of that.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to say, Didn't Keith send you that via email?
The,
The history of payments on the policy?
yes.
He did?
Oh, yeah, he sent me,
Okay, okay.
yes.
Okay. So basically, your understanding then would be in April, Keith was in contact with Canada Life. They sent him the payment history for the policy, and he sent it to you.
When I spoke with Canada Life, I believe, when I spoke with Canada Life, I asked them to send the payment history to Keith.
Okay.
And of course, Paul.
Judge, this is D20.
D20, okay.
I should probably share the cover page, shouldn't I? So just to show you this, you can take a look at this. Tell me if you recognize everybody's names on this document.
Yes,
Okay. You see your name on it?
yes.
Okay. What is that?
This was, this, I'm sure I received this, but this was when we found out there was a loan against the policy. The question is, and the insurance company is saying that they didn't receive a payment, is the reason why I asked for a payment history, so that they could basically come to a conclusion of if premium payments were made, where they went.
Okay.
So that's why he sent this to me, because when he got the payment history, it was again just identifying the fact that certain payments weren't made.
I see. So can I clarify by asking, is this Keith sending you the payment history from Canada Life?
Yes.
Okay. When we go to the payment history, this is what he sent to you.
Yes.
Okay. We see that goes back to 1999, right?
Yes. 7/28.
July 28th of 1999.
Yes.
Okay. When we look at, I'm sorry, when we look at this, we can see that you testified before that the quarterly premiums were supposed to be $7,854, right?
Yes.
If there's 4 of those a year, that would be about $31,200
Okay.
a year.
Right.
Okay? But when we go through this, like if we look at 2003, only $16,294 is paid towards the policy, right?
From what I see here, it says payment amount $16,294, applied as premium, applied as a loan payment.
Right. What I'm asking you, though, is over the course of 2003, if there's quarterly payments, what we should see is over $31,000 going to the insurance company, right?
Yes.
But that we're not seeing that there.
Based on this, you're correct.
We're
I
seeing
don't
about
see it.
half that going there, right?
Yes.
Okay. So all I'm trying to say is, in terms of the quarterly payments, when we look through this, if we look at, again, 2007, right? We're seeing $9,838, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. So right here, we see $9,838 of which they paid the premium, $7,854, and applied this to the loan.
Right. And so as of 2007, when that payment took place, that loan was already over $45,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
You have to say yes or no, sir.
I'm sorry?
You have to say yes or no, please.
Oh, yes.
and the only point I'm trying to make is this. The failure to pay the quarterly payments to the insurance, right, was not a new thing that happened in 2018. It was something that when we see the policy, we see it goes all the way back to 2003.
Yes,
We just looked at it, right?
Absolutely.
And that's what we saw.
yes.
And when we look at and think about there being a loan on the policy, we see that this is not a new phenomenon either. It goes all the way back in the policy until the early 2000s, right?
Yes.
Did Keith let me ask it this way. So, if I'm understanding you correctly, after this issue gets resolved to your understanding in April of 2018,
No. Oh, yeah, April 20, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right, April.
you don't have any more communications with Keith about the trust account itself until November of 2018.
Yes.
Okay. And you might have had conversations about other insurance policies with Keith, but you didn't have any further communications about this insurance policy until November of 2018.
Yes.
Now, you had made some calls to the insurance company on Keith's behalf in November, right?
Yes.
And you actually, for some of those, when they asked for your name, when you called, you said you were Paul Caneiro.
Yes, I'm calling for Paul Caneiro.
You said
What? I identify myself as Paul Caneiro.
you identified
Yeah.
yourself as Paul, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, you know, we understand you did that because that was the way you were going to be able to get information you thought you needed, right?
That's it. I was just trying to establish if there had been payments made on specific dates. I don't recall it, but specific dates.
Right.
And I had asked them to send information because they said they didn't get the payments. I don't recall, but I believe I asked for them to send another account history or something.
Okay. Now, that was that day in November when you called the insurance company and pretended to be Paul. That wasn't the first time that you had done that, right?
That is the first time I did that.
Is it?
Sorry, sir. Yes or
Oh,
no?
I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay. Did you call Pacific Life in June of 2017 and pretend to be Paul?
Not to my knowledge.
No. Okay. This is D23. Just, I'm showing this to you. Is that an email?
This is 2017.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. You can just read it to yourself.
Okay. So this wasn't County Life. This was Pacific Life.
Yeah, that's what I asked you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Right. No, the question was more, had you ever called an insurance company and pretended to be Paul before? I think the answer is yes.
Yes.
Right? Because in 2017 you called Pacific Life and pretended to be Paul, but you told Paul about it in this email, right?
Of course.
It wasn't a secret.
No.
You didn't do it because you were trying to hurt Paul. You were doing it because you were trying to help him, right?
Yes.
He had an issue with Pacific Life that he needed to resolve, and you're an insurance professional who was trying to resolve it for him, right? And you called and pretended to be, or said you were him, because that was the easiest way for you to navigate that situation on his behalf.
Yes.
Fair? Now, then you sent Paul an email saying, yeah, I called the company and pretended to be you. You sent him that email because you knew he wasn't going to be angry about you doing that, right?
No. Yes. Yes.
And you knew he wasn't going to care if you called them and said, I'm Paul Caneiro versus Ron Artigis, right?
Yes.
I'm going to assume that, given the instances of it we've seen today, that you've probably done this for other clients in the past too.
Why is this relevant? I don't need an objection.
Well,
You want to tell me sidebar, or you want to tell
I
me?
can tell you about, if we go to sidebar, Judge.
Sure. We're ready. Ladies and gentlemen, you remember how I said on Friday that sometimes I have to be a gatekeeper and make certain decisions. Even though there was not an objection there, the court had concerns before any more answers were going to come out. That is the reason why that we just went to sidebar. I'm going to sustain my own objection. And that question that was just asked, I want you to use that little pencil, the number 2 pencil. I want you to erase that question out of your head. Counsel, go ahead.
I was saying before, obviously you sent this email because you didn't think calling and saying you were Paul in 2017 was a big deal, right?
So for sometimes getting the job accomplished,
Right.
okay? Because you had said something earlier before you went to sidebar, as far as is this like a common practice? Most insurance brokers have access to all the information. If you're not, if it has to do with, say, filing a claim and you're trying to get some information and you're not the broker, then they have to speak directly to the client. And at times, the client doesn't really know how to process or how to proceed. So in that particular case, and in the case that we talked about earlier in April, not being the broker, to find out whether a premium was paid. If sometimes what you basically do is represent on behalf of the client, because all we're trying to find out is whether or not a premium was paid.
Sure. Yeah. All I'm suggesting is that this was something you did because you thought it was in Paul's best interest.
We were trying to get a claim file for him, so
Right.
absolutely, it was in his best interest.
And because of that, you didn't think that he would have any objection to you doing it.
No,
And he actually didn't have any objection to you doing it.
correct.
But obviously he knew that that's something you could do if you needed to in the future, right?
Yes.
Okay. Going back to the actual insurance policy, the value of the policy in the trust is $3 million.
The death benefit is $3 million.
Who ended up getting that?
Proceeds?
Objection.
How does he know this?
I don't know if he does.
I don't.
That's the answer.
There's your answer. He doesn't know. Next question.
On the morning of November 20th, you talked to Paul about an insurance claim on his own home
Yes.
because his own home was on fire.
Yes.
The Caneiros, by that I mean both Paul and Keith, had multiple insurance policies.
Yes.
These were very well insured individuals.
Yes.
Right? And they had a certain level of sophistication as far as insurance that maybe not everybody has.
Yes.
They had an insurance broker like yourself, right,
Yes.
to assist them. When you have damage to property, the insurance and that property is insured, right?
Yes.
The insurance company wants you to make that information known to them as soon as possible
Yes.
because they want to be able to get out to the location and inspect it and see what the degree of the damage is.
Yes.
And they want to do that before a whole bunch of time elapses because the more time that goes by, the more interference there could be with the property in question, right?
Yes.
So they advise people to make a claim as soon as possible when there's damage, right?
Yes.
And Paul is sophisticated with insurance, and Paul made a claim that morning, right?
Yes.
And Paul is sophisticated with insurance, and Paul didn't necessarily need to wait for you to make that claim, right?
Yes.
Just a moment, Judge.
Sure.
All right, Mr. Artigas, thank you. I have no further questions, Judge.
Redirect.
No, thank you, Judge.
You step down, sir. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, so we don't start and stop, would you have an objection to us taking a break, our 15-minute break now, and then we'll just go right into our next witness? All right, we're going to take a 15-minute break now, just a little bit early. So we'll start back up at 3:10. I'll bring you right back out, and we'll continue on with the testimony. Thank you. Don't discuss this case. Don't do any research. I'll see you back shortly. Thank you.